Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Good morning. Hope everyone had a nice Tuesday night.
I did.
Sweet. Dude, you're not even going to let me get through my intro before you want to start talking about the Padres? It's too early to talk about the Padres, bro. West Coast games, they come up last. I knew it was going to happen, too. When they made it 5-3, I said in the Discord, I was like, Padres are going to find a way to win this game, and Toast is going to be such a dickhead about it. So, yeah, the Padres bullpen, which Toast was praising, they win the game. It's just one game, though. We'll still see. They'll probably be in the wild card hunt. We'll see if they actually end up sneaking in. But yeah, my bets on the website went 3-3. One of them was the Yankees, which I personally cashed out. So I actually didn't win that. But I posted on the site, which is nice, I guess. Yeah, so we got 15 games to get through. No, 14. Tigers and Guardians are off. So we have 14 games to get through. Then I got Prop Beaver and Just a Bet Outside coming on to talk about the Jets. And then I got Andy coming on to go through some action. So let's go ahead and get it started. And the first one up. Wow, I haven't produced a show in a while. Forgot how to do this. Marlins +1. I got spoiled. I got used to Prop Beaver doing it for me. I forgot that there's like.
Well, I'm a little bit flustered. I saw Prop Beaver on the screen. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on.
People are gonna see his face. People forgot what he looked like. All right, here we go. Poll is running. Marlins on the road in Tampa. Obviously, first glance at this price, you're like, oh, that's way too much to back Tampa. They're not really hitting. You can't really consistently trust this lineup, especially against a right-handed pitcher. But I mean, there's no way with Taj Bradley making a home start in the Trop, Munoz, like, there's no way you could consider Miami here. But I have no interest in taking the Rays at this price.
I played the Rays -1 or -1.5 last night at -105.
You laid 1.5 with the Rays at home.
With Taj Bradley on the mound, yes. So that's what I did. It's like 120 now. I don't really love that, but Taj Bradley has been essentially lights out his last 7 starts. His worst start of all those, I guess, would be on the road in Texas, where he went 6 innings and gave up 2 runs. Besides that, he's putting up zeros everywhere. And usually with a guy, I usually worry about, like, okay, a whole bunch of zeros, we're going to see some runs coming. But what he's been able to do and continue to do it since he's been coming back, like, I have no reason to think that Taj Bradley doesn't go out there and pitch 7 shutout innings, or pretty damn close to it. I know Miami came up huge for me yesterday with that first 5, but at the same time, that offense looks absolutely dead after that. And if that's any indication of what we're going to see today, at worst case, I think the Rays win this game like 3-1.
So what's the price now for the -1.5? You said it's out of your price range at this point.
Yeah, it's like -120, -130.
Yeah, I mean, I said you're laying 1.5 with the Rays, but the truth is, like, I completely get it. I can't say I disagree with it. The Marlins bats have shown signs of life, though, like, a little bit.
A little bit.
So I'll put Rays -1.5 up for you. Sounds like not at this price, though. Kamish, what do you have any thoughts on Munoz here?
Yeah, I think his fastball is absolutely awful, but Mike Estabrook, pitcher from the umpire behind the plate tonight, I think both of these offenses are unimpressive. I think that's a fair word to describe both of these offenses. Taj Bradley definitely due for some regression at some point here. He's been really toeing the line here with 206 BABIP, 90% strand rate the last 30 days, but he's also been very, very good in terms of his stuff and not allowing a lot of hard contact. So I don't expect massive regression there. I think you get a pitcher from the umpire, day game at the Trop. I think this is an under.
Under?
Yep.
I could see that, but 7.5 is a bit low.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Yeah, I feel you.
Wait, why do I have a graphic here? Rays Diamondbacks moneyline parlay. Did someone?
I bet that too. I was gonna wait.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I have the graphic if you want to talk about it later.
I'll talk about the Arizona side when we get there. It's pretty simple.
All right. So let's move on to the next game. Our poll's all over the Rays, by the way, 63%, 22%. So as far as the viewers, they like Tampa. Can't say I blame them. Let's move on to the next game. Blue Jays, Orioles. Look, I think there's a path. I didn't. Damn. I almost don't want to say it because they're going to hate it. I didn't bet it. I put down a stupid 3-leg home run swing parlay last night in the Discord. You guys probably saw it. It's stupid. 0.1
Did you
unit.
get Toronto?
I put Toronto in it, but it's part of a.
I agree. So
Yes.
I don't think it's that crazy.
I think Toronto's the side here, but it's just can I actually get to the window and place the bet? Probably not. I think there's a path to Toronto scoring runs on Grayson Rodriguez. His splits show that he's favorable against lefty bats, struggles a little bit more against righties. Toronto's loaded up with righty bats. Also, Grayson Rodriguez hasn't quite been the same recently. He hasn't been bad, but he's definitely looked a little bit more vulnerable over his last 5-6 starts. Baltimore used a few of their bullpen arms. They have so many over there now, though. It's kind of hard to keep track of the Orioles bullpen. I'm not sure what arms I even trust/don't trust. So I'm going to put Toronto up because I feel like, hold on one sec. Let me load my picks up. Because I feel that'd be the side I want to get to is Toronto. At this price, it would have to be Toronto, but am I actually going to place a bet on Toronto? No. I put Toronto money line in a 3 underdog parlay it's like $25 to win 600 or something. It's not a good bet. It's just there's 3 underdogs that I think have a shot of winning. And I think at this price, it's worth a shot. That's all.
Yeah, and for me, the only reason I said it's Toronto or pass for me, a couple reasons I didn't want to play. The reasons I didn't want to play Baltimore or use them in a money line parlay is because of, like Kyle talked about, the splits for Rodriguez doesn't really excite me. Not to mention the fact that, say what you want about Toronto, they've been scoring runs coming out of the All-Star break, and that's not something that I really want to deal with if you're a huge heavy favorite like Baltimore is. And not to mention that Kyle mentioned that Baltimore bullpen. I don't know what's going on, but they essentially just grabbed the Phillies bullpen that failed in the postseason to take Baltimore into the postseason. So good luck with Kimbrel, Sir Anthony Dominguez, and Soto. Yeah, it'll be fun. But there's no chance in hell I laid minus 200 or that.
And also, I think the market's a bit off here. I mean, look at this. It's minus 235. We're polling 72% to 17%. Everyone's betting Baltimore. The comments are like, there's no path to Toronto win. Yeah, are we forgetting the O's are 4-6 in their last 10 games?
They're not even going back 8-12 their last 20, 15 and 15.
Yeah, they're not even playing
30.
well.
They haven't played 500 baseball in a long time, guys.
I agree. I think Baltimore would probably win this game. I'm just saying at this number it would only be Toronto. Your brain shouldn't be like, oh, there's no way. Like, dude, Baltimore was just taking losses to the Marlins 5 days ago.
Blue Jays stats on the road are a top 5 team the last 14 days. Yeah. Versus right-handed pitching, same thing as well.
It's just Espino. Espino's kind of crazy.
That's the question. Yeah, and Espino, and then you got even behind that a terrible, terrible Toronto bullpen that's actually not in the best shape. I mean, they're whatever.
Kamish, your thoughts on Espino making a road start in Camden here?
I'm with you guys. I think this is way too much juice for Baltimore. I'm not thrilled about getting on Toronto, but I think there's a couple decent options here. You can get Grayson Rodriguez not to record a win at minus 135. I think that's a decent look. I think Toronto's team total is a decent look. I played Toronto's team total a couple of times already in this series. They've been swinging. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is one of the hottest hitters on planet Earth. Right, ever since Toast and I went on the pod and talked shit about him, the guy I don't know if he's made an out since then. He's been unbelievable. The team's starting to swing it a little bit. The fact that they didn't mass dump at the trade deadline, I think there's something to be said about just the clubhouse culture, the team chemistry. Not that they're going to go from a shit baseball team to a great baseball team, but they can swing it a little bit. And Grayson Rodriguez has been a little bit underwhelming. I think there's a reason we're seeing his earned runs allowed line here at 2.5 instead of 1.5. I think Toronto's going to get to him a little bit.
Yeah, man, that Toronto first 5 team total over 1.5 at minus 130 is just staring at me right in the face.
Yeah, or the 2.5 first 7. I think there's a bunch of ways to consider getting in on Toronto.
Yeah, I didn't actually. I didn't actually get there. I placed a crazy parlay down, and I'll let you know. I do think that at this price, Toronto's worth a shot if you're looking to take a swing on a dog. And I think there's two others. There's three underdogs, big underdogs that I thought were worth a shot at the price today. And
Also, really quickly as well, Cano, Dominguez, and Perez have worked 2 of the last 3 nights for Baltimore.
And a very hitter-friendly umpire, for what it's worth.
I feel like I don't really know like what roles are they like what role is Dominguez in that bullpen? I feel like I don't even know who.
Well, you know he's a high leverage guy. I think that's all that matters.
They have like 5 high leverage guys now.
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, there's a Cano. They like that guy Perez.
I guess. I don't.
I'm not asking if you like him. I'm saying they like him.
No, I know. Again, I don't know what to think because you can't use Kimbrel at high leverage. I mean, and Cano doesn't want to close. So I guess Sir Anthony Dominguez is your closer going.
Have they not been watching the Phillies? I mean, it's not like Dominguez hasn't been that great.
I know. Trust me. I'm trying to figure that out myself. You have a Baltimore team that's stacked offensively, and you go out and get a bullpen that's already failed once.
It's like they loaded up on mediocre bullpen arms instead of getting, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I don't. I don't.
Like the 7th inning guy, they have like 6 7th inning guys, but they don't have the 8th and the 9th inning guy. All right. Yanks, Phillies. This is a challenging one. Where I wanted to go, I'll put it up right on the screen. This is where I wanted to go with it. Over.
I got CLV lost bad.
You lost CLV? What'd you take?
Phillies.
Yeah, me too. Same thing.
You guys are on the Phillies?
Yeah, but I didn't anticipate them sitting half of their lineup today.
They're sitting half their lineup today?
Yeah, no Trey Turner, no Brandon Marsh, no Realmuto, and no Bryson Stott.
Is it still plus 110 Yankees?
It's moved a little bit.
Plus 101. Maybe instead of this, maybe I just go pop. Yankees plus 112. I mean, do you want to step in front of the Yanks right now? Phillies in a bit of a skid.
I do with a full Phillies team. Yeah, I did.
But hold on.
Yeah, against the lefty. I mean, Christopher Sanchez has been unbelievable at home. Yeah,
This is so irritating.
True or false? The wheels have fallen off the track as far as Christopher Sanchez.
No, I don't know yet. I think he's been erratic all season. I think he's been very good at home. I think this is a good matchup for him against the Yankees team that struggled a little bit against left-handed pitching. He's going to have a pretty favorable. I think this is a favorable matchup for him. I think being at home, day game after a night game, emotional Yankees win last night after they almost blew that game a few times. Bryce Harper's ball kicking off the first baseman. Gleyber made a nice play. I think the Yankees are very happy with the outcome of this series, regardless of what happens today. Again, every team wakes up every day and they go try to win a baseball game. But I think this is last night I was like, this is a slam dunk Philly spot. They sit for their better hitters. I'm less so thinking that, but I still think Christopher Sanchez over outs is a good bet. I still think the Phillies are live. I just lost 25 cents on the price.
Okay, so you guys are both in holding a Phillies ticket right now.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. I won't bet the Yankees then.
Why not?
Because you guys know, or Toast definitely knows, I don't like betting Nestor Cortez on the road.
Well, that's So I think I'm happier now that I see the lineup that the line moved now, because if there was a full Phillies team and the line moved like that, I'd be a lot more terrified. So, but I do think Christopher Sanchez should pitch well today. I mean, the Yankees versus left-handed pitching, the last couple of starters, they got 2 off of Minaya, 1 off of Quintana, Kate Povich, they got 3 off of. 1 off of Andrew Abbott, Minaya another 0, David Peterson a 1. They got 4 off of Kikuchi, but they haven't been doing a whole lot of damage versus starting left-handed pitching. So I do think the Phillies have a pretty significant advantage with Sanchez on the mound. And then as far as the bullpens are concerned, look at the Yankees bullpen. Clay Holmes went 24 yesterday. Luke Weaver went 7. I mean, all these guys went. Mark Leiter Jr. went 2 of the last 3 nights. I mean, he's like one of their better arms now when you get to the as far as bullpens are concerned. So, and the Phillies should have everybody and Estevez back as well. So, not back, but available now for them. So, I just feel like there's a whole bunch of spots where it's a plus Philly spot, but this is just so irritating. I can't even talk. I'm so pissed off.
I think the first 5 under could make sense as well.
Yeah, I just want to say something. Caleb Farmer in the comments asked because I was a switch from the over to Yankees. A lot of these games, now that we're into August, a lot of these games, there's a chance. I know that earlier in the season, I was delivering. I've gone through every single game. The vibe of that's going to change a little bit because I need to. There's 134 FBS teams, and I need to be ready. So there's going to be. I'm the host of the show. There's going to be a lot of games that I haven't looked at yet, and on the show I'm going to be listening to Toast and whoever else we have on and making my decision. I do have 3 bets down, but that's why I was switching because I'm listening, making my decision now. So I just wanted to, because I know that looks kind of crazy. It's like, what is he doing? Like changing his mind. Some of these games I haven't made a decision I haven't looked at yet. So I just wanted to get that across. There's the FBS is crazy. All right, let's move on to the next.
Wait, when is week 0, Sauce?
August 24th. There are 2 FBS games. And then, yeah, it starts early. But there's only like a handful of games on the 24th, a lot of them involving FCS teams.
I know, but you got to get college football early because the lines are so soft early in the season.
And, yeah, it exactly. And it starts up so quick. It's like, oh, college football. And then out of nowhere, it's like 63 games. It's like out of nowhere. You're like, holy shit. So I made the mistake last year of getting way into baseball, and then college football hit, and I was like, oh, I wasn't as prepared. So I'm not making that mistake this year. But anyway, Twins, Mets in Citi Field. I bet it. Grimace. I'm going to say the same exact thing that I've said for 2 days now. I've bet the Mets every single game this series. Obviously, 2-0. The price is off. I don't understand. Now, Pablo Lopez has been really good, and this is not me fading Pablo Lopez.
Especially on the road.
Yeah, no, he's been great. He's been great. I will say he's pitching up against a few questionable lineups. I'll say that.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, but I
you
think
guys just have to denigrate him some way, somehow.
I just said I'm not. Hold on. I just said.
Also, I think Pablo Lopez has pitched every Wednesday this season. That's how it feels because every time we get on the show, Pablo is starting, and you guys are talking shit about Pablo Lopez.
Look, what I'm saying is, I am not fading Pablo Lopez here. He's been good. The only thing I'll say is he's been good against some questionable lineups. That's all I'll say. But this is not a fade of Pablo Lopez. This is a fade of the price. I think if you take away the starting pitching matchup here, which obviously I would give a slight edge to Minnesota, but let's not downplay how good Severino's been this year. He's been really solid. Let's say you give the slight pitching edge to Minnesota here, which I would. The rest of this game is all Mets. They have the better. Minnesota's not hitting. Look at their recent game logs against righty starters. They've gone cold. So the Mets have the much better lineup at home. And now that the Mets bullpen, now they did use Diaz yesterday, but he was rested. He'll probably be available to go again today. They have the rest of their arms. Now that the Mets bullpen, they added a couple arms to it. They're rested. I would put the Mets bullpen right up next to the Twins. And by the way, the Twins used Alcala for 30 pitches last night. So he's probably not even available. So even though the Mets got the 2-0 win, as far as bullpens, I think the Mets still have the more rested bullpen here, certainly the deeper bullpen. So if you take away the starting pitching matchup here, I think the Mets have the huge edge. And then you factor. So I think this should be, take away the starting pitching matchup, this should be about minus 130 for the Mets. There's no way. I think Pablo Lopez is 45 cents better than Severino. No way. Severino's been good. So yeah, I bet the Mets here. It sounded like I was going to keep talking, but that's it. I bet the Mets here.
Oh, Mitch is gone? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I think he dropped out.
I was gonna wait to bet the Mets because I thought the price was gonna get better, and it has. So I'm going to bet them. I really can't add much. It's gonna be at plus 100 right now, but I 100% agree. And I'm not. Look at who Pablo Lopez has faced: Detroit, Milwaukee, the White Sox, Houston, Seattle, Oakland, the Rays. I mean, none of those a couple of those teams might scare you, but overall, that's a lot of weak teams that he's faced. So and that's not me coming here. I know there's a running joke on Pablo Lopez. That's nothing to do with it. But the Twins' offense has also looked dead over the last 3 or 4 days as well. They had that 5-run outburst against Detroit, but another 2-run outburst before that against Detroit, another 2-run outburst against the Mets after that, and then they obviously got blanked. So they're really not doing much at the plate either. So there's no way I don't bet the Mets here.
The people are making jokes that Kamish couldn't take the Pablo Lopez criticism and bounced.
I could see Beaver like getting close and reading and laughing. And
well, he actually was the one making the jokes. He's in the chat typing. So I mean, I want to hear what Kamish has to say about Pablo Lopez, but he couldn't face. How about this? We'll move on to the next game, and if Kamish joins back up, we'll come back.
We'll give him his shot.
He will give him his 60 seconds.
He has been real in Pablo Lopez defenses.
Definitely, he's been good.
He's been better. He only had one bad start.
No, don't cop out and say better. He's been good. He's been good.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. He has been good over his last 7 starts. The only bad start was against Houston.
The only good lineup he saw.
He's and honestly, and if you take all that away, like I'd rather have Pablo Lopez on the road than at home because he hasn't pitched well in Minnesota at all.
All right, next up, Royals, White Sox. And this is another one. I think it's a decent spot to take a shot on Chicago. If you want, I did it. I did, and I put it in that stupid little 0.1 unit parlay I placed. But I actually bet the under here. Drew Thorpe coming off his first bad start in a while. This Royals lineup hasn't been the same on the road all year. If you look at the previous 5 starts before Drew Thorpe's last start, I mean, he was absolutely dealing. He's one of the hotter pitchers in baseball. So against the Royals on the road, I expect a quality start out of him. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if he throws a gem here. The Royals only have 4 lefties in the lineup. A couple of them are dangerous. That's been Drew Thorpe's kryptonite, kind of, is pitching to lefty bats. But the Royals, like I said, aren't overly loaded with lefties. So I think Drew Thorpe pitches well. Now, on the other side, I usually don't like to trust Brady Singer on the road. That dates back to last season, but I mean, there's an exception for every rule, and the exception is the Chicago White Sox lineup. It is so bad. So Brady Singer, even though he usually is a fade on the road, has been for a couple of years, the White Sox are as bad as it gets offensively. So I expect Brady Singer to be fine as well. We're getting a total up at 9. I said I liked the under yesterday, but didn't play it. I should have. It would have cashed. This would be, not would be. I did bet this for only 0.75 units, but I did bet the under here at 9.
Yeah, it's going to end up being a pass. I really wanted to play White Sox team total, first 5 team total over 1.5, just because my reasoning would be this is going to be the 4th time this White Sox lineup has seen Brady Singer. So I know that a lot of guys have been traded and whatnot, but there's a few guys that have seen him multiple times. Not to mention, I don't think that Miguel Vargas is that bad. He came over in that Dodgers trade. He'll be in the lineup today. And again, I mean, Brady Singer hasn't given up a run in his last 2 starts. I think that dam's going to break sooner or later. I don't think I end up betting it just because it's just really hard to bet this White Sox team, but there's no chance in hell I bet the Royals here today. Yeah,
and the Royals do have they immediately travel to Detroit for what would be considered a more important series tomorrow. So they've already taken 2. This is a road getaway day where they have a more important series started tomorrow. I'm not saying that's necessarily always a fade spot, but a lot of times you will see managers hold back an important arm or two, play it a little bit more conservatively. So, I mean, if there's a spot for the White Sox to steal one, it's here. Yeah, obviously we're polling 68%, 17%. So everyone's betting the Royals here. Let's go to the next game. Braves, Brewers. I wanted to bet the Brewers here. I still do.
Last night?
Nah, I mean, 6 cents of CLV. Who cares?
How'd you get 6 cents? I got minus 130 on the Braves. I see them minus 115.
Oh wow, it's at minus 105 now, so it's moved in like the last hour. Because when I looked this morning, it was plus 104. So those of you who don't know what we're talking about, me and Toast in the Discord last night were talking, and I said I wanted to take the Brewers at plus 110. The Brewers have been hitting lefties. You can't argue that. They've been hitting lefties. Well, you're about to take Sale. You took Sale in some capacity here, right?
I feel like I have a really good read on this series. I mean, like I said, yeah. So,
all right, go ahead.
It's just I have Chris Sale, who I think is a huge starting pitching advantage over Freddie Peralta. I have a Milwaukee team that, yes, they have been much better against lefties, but since coming out of the All-Star break, this team hasn't done anything. Let's just count their total runs so far: 1-8-6, 3-2-3, 1-1, 8-8. So it's either all or nothing for Milwaukee. I tend to think if it's against Chris Sale and this Braves team, it's going to be nothing. I know people didn't like that. I thought that Bryce Elder would pitch well yesterday. I'm not in love with this Milwaukee offense right now. I don't think they're in very good form. And we have a Braves offense that is starting finally to click together over their last 5 games, 5-3, 9, 4, and 4 runs scored. So I just think that the Braves have a starting pitching advantage. Like I said, I'm not really in love with the Milwaukee bats. And I think that the fact that they're at home and stuff, we're getting a crazy price. But yeah, I really like the Braves here today. I almost have a full unit on the Braves.
You use the word really like the Braves. God damn it.
I do. I'm feeling pretty hot after the Bryce Elder call yesterday. I felt that in my plums.
I'm feeling pretty hot.
Felt that in my plums.
Atlanta flies home to play the Marlins tomorrow, but who gives a shit? Braves bullpen, they use their main arms, but they're all available, right?
Yeah.
Man, I like the other side. I think Freddie.
You got a rested Milwaukee bullpen behind mediocre Freddie.
I'm putting Milwaukee up. Oh, not plus 1.5 money line. This is where I want to be. All right. I didn't bet this, though. This isn't one of my 3 bets I have open. Next up, Rangers Cardinals. You just mentioned you had a good read on that Braves Brewers series. I have a terrible read on this one. I'm 0-2. Took the Cardinals in the first game. Took the Rangers last night. But I did say in the live show that I hated my Rangers bet.
Yeah, you were like, I don't know what I was thinking last night. I woke up this morning pissed off.
I woke up, I saw I bet the Rangers money line. I was like, what the fuck was I doing? So yeah, I had a bad feeling about that one. So here we are again, Rangers Cardinals to finish off the series. Andrew Heaney's getting the start against a man named McGreevy.
I've never heard of this dude.
Oh, well, if you've never heard of him, then there's 0% chance I know who he is.
Yeah, never heard of him
so
before.
Are we just skipping?
It's a pass for me. I can tell you that in Memphis in AAA, this kid had a 4.5 ERA and 110 innings pitched with a 1.35 whip and a 7.9 strikeouts per 9, 3 walks per 9. So it's really not anything special or ride home about. So
yeah, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
All right,
especially at minus 110 each. Like I think the books think it's a coin flip.
Washington, Arizona. I don't understand that price. I still don't understand that price yesterday.
Yeah.
Final score was looking like
17-0.
Oh no, I know what the final score was. I was saying it was looking like a Iowa-Indiana score for college football. Now it's minus 180. So they switch from Patrick Corbin to Mackenzie Gore, and I don't get it. I don't get the price.
I have Arizona in a parlay, and I'm thinking about betting a little bit on Washington to get out of it because this line makes absolutely no sense in hell, and it's dropping. It's one. You can get Arizona minus 177 right now, minus 1.5 at plus 115. It just doesn't. The price makes absolutely no sense. Like I said, I have Arizona in a small parlay for 0.4 units with Tampa Bay. I hate Zach Gallen. I think he's absolutely terrible and one of the more overrated pitchers in the league. But I do think that he should pitch well here at a bounce back spot. He's looked terrible. Usually you can trust Zach Gallen at home. His last 3 starts at home, he's been absolutely terrible. He got lit up by Atlanta, Toronto, in 6 innings, 3 runs against Pittsburgh. That is not impressive to me at all. On the other side, though, Mackenzie Gore has really been a shell of himself. And my issue with Mackenzie Gore is that even if he pitches well, he's going 4, maybe 5 innings max, and then you're going to get multiple shots at that absolutely dreadful Washington bullpen, who they've traded the guys away. Guys aren't pitching well at all. So a lot of the guys didn't work yesterday in that Washington bullpen, but they're so bad, it really doesn't matter to me. So I don't see on paper how Arizona loses this game, but that price makes absolutely 0 sense to me. So maybe Zach Gallen gets hit up again because he just sucks. But yeah, I do think that Arizona wins this game. But like I said, the price is absolutely terrifying.
I don't understand. What do you think the price should be?
Well, I mean, like 190, 200. Like
that's what I said yesterday.
I agree. Yeah.
All right.
It just doesn't. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Either I'm not going to play Arizona -1.5. They're going to win 10-0 again. I'm going to be pissed off. Or Washington's going to win, and we're going to be like, oh yeah, told you. Figured that makes sense.
How's like, Mackenzie Gore been?
Terrible.
Right.
Absolutely terrible. Yeah. Had one good start. His one start against the Mets, that was the best he did. Everything else is 3 or 4 innings with 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah, he's been in a free fall, 4 straight starts.
Yeah. Like, it's like, yeah. And the Washington bullpen's like one of the worst in the league right now. So it's like, how do you...
And then the total's down at 8.5.
Like, what?
Wow. Yeah, I guess
they think that Mackenzie Gore can deal today, I guess. Maybe that's the case.
Let's go to the next one.
I don't know about that.
Seattle Boston. Toughie.
I'm on Seattle, for the record.
Back to Kirby.
Yeah. Seattle -118.
Even after what Boston just did to your boy Logan Gilbert.
Yeah. Especially just because of what we saw yesterday. I think that was what gave me a little solace. I feel like I got extremely lucky to cash my over and that first 5 Boston team total over with that Devers home run. Besides that Boston offense really didn't do anything as far as I just yeah. What? Sorry, did I miss something with commission? Oh, there. Sorry. But anyway, yeah. And Boston, like I said, they scored 3 runs yesterday early, and then they got 3 cheap runs late. Besides that, before that game, obviously they had that 14-run game against against Gilbert. But then 2 runs against the Yankees. So maybe that Boston offense is starting to just trickle down a little bit. My point is that I don't think they're going to be putting up 8 or 9 runs a game. And now you have George Kirby on the mound, who, I mean, has had a couple of bad starts here and there, but overall has been really good. I will say that his last 4 starts on the road, Chicago White Sox, LA Angels, the Rays, Marlins, none of those teams even remotely stack up against Boston in that lineup. But at the same time, Brian Bello, especially at home, is a fade for me, and in general this year has been a fade for me. And the Seattle offense is kind of starting to come around 10-7, 6-6, 10 their last 5 games. Seattle's bullpen isn't in great shape, but I still think that Kirby should go long enough, and I don't really worry about it. So, I bet Seattle. I was pretty confident. I have pretty much a full unit on it. I think that Kirby should deal here today, but yeah, I guess we'll see.
Kirby should deal in Fenway. So
Yeah.
One game where the Red Sox failed to get to a righty starter and you've completely bailed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't put a whole bunch into the 7 spot that they put on to Gilbert. I mean, that strike 3 call that ends the inning. I mean, it is what it is. I lost my bet, but that game could have been easily completely opposite with 1 strike call. So they put their 14 runs up. I'll take my L, but I'll take my chances with Kirby now.
Commish?
Yeah, sorry about that. My internet died. But, yeah, I bet Kirby last night over 17.5 outs. Closing value king. It's got, like, almost 100 points of closing value, so it's for sure going to lose somehow. Super pitcher from the umpire. I know Boston's offense has been hot. The weather's really, really hitter-friendly at Fenway. Massive winds blowing out to left field. Hot temperatures. It's a really good day to be a hitter at Fenway if you can put the ball in play. But Kirby's got good swing and miss stuff. I think having a little bit bigger of a strike zone should help Kirby. He's had 18-plus outs recorded, 13 of his last 14 starts. I feel like you just have to bet that and live with the results. And I think a lot of what Toast is saying is the same thing, where Could the bet lose? For sure. I think this is a very, very fair price on Seattle, Kirby, all the way across the board.
Also, just really quickly, Kirby's been really good against Boston since 2023. He's had 3 starts. He's went 17 innings. He's given up 2 runs. So,
did you take Minnesota?
17.5 outs. Sauce.
Oh, it's 17.5? All right, I'll switch it.
Yeah.
Did you take the Twins?
Did I bet the Twins?
yeah,
No.
you conveniently cut off right before you.
The comments were like, people were saying that you didn't want to admit that you don't trust Pablo.
We didn't say that. The people were.
Yeah,
saying
the
No,
comments were
I've
saying-
doubled down too many times on Pablo Lopez to win the Cy Young, so I've had to cut myself off. I've had to.
I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys in trusting the Mariners bats to get to Bayo. People are saying the weather's nice. Bayo's been a disaster, but there's no way I could trust Kirby against Boston. One game is not going to sway me off what's been happening for a month and a half. So why not go here?
When I saw Castillo kind of essentially deal, and that
I know
might have freaking for me.
Okay,
Why not
but so Boston's offense has been really good, but George Kirby his last 31 innings, 163 FIP, 102 WHIP, 2.4 barrel percentage allowed, tons of ground balls, almost a 50% ground ball rate.
Just stop, Kamish. You're gonna talk so much, and we're gonna build him up, and he's gonna get freaking throttled again.
You're right.
What about
We've
Logan
seen this
Gilbert?
happen.
Look what happened to Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, but I don't think
that.
Logan Gilbert is that good.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Okay, whoa, shh, don't say it loud. Toast, you're gonna get him like
Logan
worked
Gilbert
up.
is good. He's not George Kirby good.
He's not George Kirby good. I'll give you that. But
Wow. So yeah, what about over? The weather's nice. Bayo sucks. Boston is gonna rock Kirby. And by the way, none of you, both of you, conveniently didn't mention the Mariners bullpen.
yes, I
No,
did.
I don't hear it. I didn't hear it.
So just
Well, no,
because
that's
you were
one of the
listening
reasons I
doesn't
like
mean I didn't
Kirby
mention
out.
it. That's like one of the first things that I mentioned. I said the Seattle bullpen's tacked. I'm not really worried about it because I think he's going to go far.
Just because you weren't listening doesn't mean I didn't say it.
No, but that's one of the reasons I like Kirby's outs as well, because Munoz 3 out of 4, Yumi Garcia 3 out of 4. They used 4 guys yesterday. I think even if Kirby gets hit around a little bit, I think they're going to give him every chance to get through 6 innings.
All right, next. Cubs at Reds.
What's this price?
This was a good call yesterday. I don't even think you bet it, but I was considering an under in this game. Didn't bet it. And you on the show were like, nah, I don't trust Justin Steele at all. I think the Reds hit him. And the Reds hadn't even really been hitting lefties. It was a good call.
I wish I bet it myself.
Yeah, would have been a nice one. That was like plus 115, too. That would have been a nice home dog to cash.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now the tables are turned in the form of the Reds being pretty heavily favored here at home, minus 150 with Lodolo on the mound. Lodolo started off shaky in his last start, but ended up looking pretty solid throughout. Pitched 6 2/3. Oh, was that 2 starts in a go? No, that was.
No, you're right. It was his last start against the Rays, right? Where everybody was like, "Oh my God, he's terrible!"
Yeah, like in the first inning. Like, I knew Lodolo would suck.
Oh, this guy. He's
Um,
selling.
Yeah. So here's what worries me a bit. I like Lodolo. This Cubs lineup. So I know that we are now basically into August, and last year's numbers don't mean shit. But the Cubs were a top 10 lineup against lefties last year. We haven't seen that this year, but it looks like they're kind of coming around. They've got to a few, I think 3 of the last 4 lefties to pitch against the Cubs got hit up. And the fact that they were a top 10 lineup against lefties last year makes it like easier to digest. Like if it was just like the Cubs haven't hit lefties in a few years and they hit a few lefties, I wouldn't give a shit. But God, no, this lineup sucks. But the fact that they were a top 10 lineup against lefties last year, I believe they were 8th in WRC plus against lefties last year. And then they got to 3 of the last 4 lefties, it becomes more fathomable that they are heating up against lefties. So I don't think it's crazy to say the Cubs actually get to Lodolo here. That being said, Kyle Hendricks making a road start in Great American, like, good Lord.
I know. I really want to take the Cubs, dude. Like you were sitting there, I was, dude. And here's the thing with Kyle Hendricks.
What about Cubs team total over? That's what I was circling.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that was going to end up being what you would have to play if you want to play on the Cubs. Just really quickly, the Cubs versus lefties. They put up 4 against Cole Reagans. They put up 4 against Cole Irving. They put up 7 against Christopher Sanchez. Yep. So the capability of hitting lefties is there. This will also be the 3rd time this Cubs team is seeing Nick Lodolo this year. He has been very good at them, once at home, once away. So it's hard to get there as far as like from what we've seen already. But even with Kyle Hendricks, he's all or nothing. He's either given you what his last start on the road where he gives up he went 5 innings against the Kansas City Royals, gives up 8 hit and 6 runs, or the previous start against St. Louis on the road where he went 7 innings and didn't give up a run. Previous start before that are on the road against Milwaukee, 3 2/3, 7 innings. So, but again, I mean, he has flashes of brilliance every once in a while. So, and the Reds are one of those teams that it wouldn't surprise me 1 second for them to fall on their face on a getaway day like this. So the Cubs are the only way I look here. There's no way I can lay with the Reds, not at this price. Trust me, I would love to play up. Also, there's a little bit of chance of rain in this one as well. So just keep that in mind.
A little bit of chance of rain. Kamish, Kyle Hendricks on the road in Great American is a disaster. True or false?
True. I'm not betting this game, though, because of the weather. I think the price and the weather, it makes it a pass for me. The Cubs, like Toast said, they've been capable, is probably the right word, against left-handed pitching, but still pretty mediocre overall the last 30 days. Cincinnati, they were hitting right-handed pitching very, very well. They've cooled off a little bit. Kyle Hendricks does not miss any bats. He's got the highest zone contact rate last 30 days of any pitcher on the slate, sub-5 swing and strike percentage. They're going to put balls in play against him. This would be a slam dunk over spot if we knew it was going to be sunny, or if we just knew there was no rain. It'd be a slam dunk over spot because I think both offenses can get to both of these pitchers here. But I can't do it. It's 85 degrees, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. It looks great on paper. I think this is a spot where a lot of people could potentially get hit hard if the game gets pushed back 2 hours or something like that.
Also, just really quickly, what really held me off of Cincinnati's side too is the fact that I had this same type of feeling where I thought this could be a smash spot with a bad pitcher for Cincinnati. They were on the road in Tampa Bay against Zach Littell, and he blanked them. Not to mention the fact that Cubs bullpen has actually been producing at a pretty decent level over the last 30 days and 14 days. Now, they did get rid of Mark Leiter Jr., so that changes a lot. He was one of their better arms, but their bullpen overall has been performing at a much better rate.
All right, let's move on to the next game because I'm not betting this. If the weather is really nice in Cincinnati, I probably would bet this.
I would probably bet an over.
Yeah, or an over.
And it's a 14-game slate. I just don't feel compelled to bet this with all the other options.
I don't like how I feel like if the weather was nice, though, like the team totals for the Reds and Cubs in that game, they're both 4.5. The Cubs are plus 105. The Reds are like minus 125. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that seem like with Lodolo? Yeah, it's way off. That doesn't seem right. All right. Pittsburgh on the road in Houston. Woodford against Framber Valdez. I got nothing to say. Kamish, anything to share here?
Pittsburgh has been surprisingly good against left-handed pitching. 8th in OPS last 30 days. Framber has not been the Framber that we saw 2 years ago. He's shown glimpses of that, but he has not consistently been Cy Young caliber Framber Valdez. You look at the last 30 days, Framber's been back. I don't know, man. I don't know. He's walking a lot of guys. To me, sub 60% first pitch strike ratio. I know a lot of people are on Houston today. Everybody's on Houston. Pittsburgh has been competitive in this series. I don't know. Houston probably wins. They're the better team.
Houston probably wins, guys.
Yeah, that's scary.
Minus 215.
I'm not there, though. I'm not betting that.
What about an over?
I would rather have the under. Pitcher friendly umpire.
You just said the Pirates are getting to lefties.
Yeah, but you're not going to see Framber for 9 innings.
Toast?
My heart tells me that Framber's back. But
you have a weird bias for him. I don't know what you like about him.
I mean, he's very, very good. I told the world that he was going to be good when he was a little infant baby, and now he's grown up, and we've seen him be a star in the Major League Baseball playoffs and all. So it's just, it's just like a child of mine.
Wait, you called that he was going to be good when he was a prospect?
Just a little infant baby.
What year was that?
6 pound, 9 ounce baby Framber Valdez. No, but seriously, he's been one of my favorite pitchers in Major League Baseball for a long time. But really dominant over his last 3 starts. One against Miami, one on the road at Seattle, and then the last one, 6 1/3, no runs, 10 strikeouts against the Dodgers. Commission mentioned his walks, 100%. That's always going to be an issue with Framber, but he also induces a boatload of ground balls. So the double plays come at a lot of double plays when Framber pitches. The reason that I'm not betting it is because I don't trust this Houston bullpen. They're all rested and ready to go, but they're not in a spot where I trust them laying a huge number. So Pittsburgh just keeps on finding ways to win, and they've been decent against left-handed pitching. Over the last 14 days, they're a top 10 lineup versus left-handed pitching. So regardless of how you feel about them. Oh, and by the way, Pittsburgh didn't use any of their major bullpen arms last night either. So there's no really edge there for me. So on the number, it'd be Pittsburgh or pass. Or under, I guess.
You guys both said under. All right. So, yeah, nothing for me. I hadn't looked at the game. That's why I was being inquisitive there.
I just don't trust that. I just don't know what to think of this Houston offense right now. Like, I'm not at a part where I can be like, oh, yeah, they're going to get to Jake Woodford, because I can see them laying an egg.
Well, and they're a 500 team, and they're priced at minus 200 against another 500 team.
It's true. Very true.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy when you look at it that way. Next up, we got to talk about this shitbag organization that somehow stole a win last night. I did make fun of Toast for his bet last night. I'll say it. It was funny to me at the time.
At the time, it was really funny.
Not this morning, but yesterday.
No, it's less funny. And I swear, I knew it was going to happen. We talked.
It felt really good. When I read you post that, I was like, man.
When it was 5-1 Dodgers, and then the Padres made it 5-3, and I said in the Discord my exact words, where I think the Padres are going to find a way to win this game, and Toast is going to be a cock about it on the show. Those were my exact words. So this is going to sound crazy, because the Dodgers were minus 130, minus 132 favorites last night, but the way Cease has been pitching, the Padres add pieces. They come from behind to win. I honestly expected the line to swing even more than this, minus 130. But I did see a couple of minus 135s out there, so maybe it did a little bit.
Yeah, you can get the Dodgers at plus 115 on ESPN and Caesars, and yeah, so it's definitely going up a little bit.
Does Cease's reign of terror continue?
I think that you're absolutely insane if you bet the Padres today. I have zero confidence betting Dylan Cease off of a 9-inning no-hitter. So first 5 Dodgers first 5 team total over 1.5 at minus 130. Or I'm sorry, minus 110, excuse me. I just felt like that price is absolutely way too cheap. Again, I love Dylan Cease, and he has been fantastic. Hasn't given up a run in 3 straight starts. Well, I think that dam's about to break. So if you're going to give me this Dodgers team to score 2 runs in Petco, I'm definitely going to take it, especially in this spot that Dylan Cease is off of. I don't trust Clayton Kershaw at all, so that's why I don't want to bet the Dodgers at a side. I would lean over 7 as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
or I was going to say Dodgers team total over 3.5.
That works as well. I haven't really actually. Yeah, you know what? At plus money, that's like probably a better option. Yeah.
With the Padres bullpen tax too. Plus 114. I'm betting this now. Betting this right now.
The Padres. It's, and I'm not even saying this because I'm a Padres fan. It's going to be really difficult to say if the Padres bullpen's taxed because they have so many guys. And I'm not. I mean, when you have Suarez, Scott, Adam, Estrada, Morihone, Matsui. I mean.
But 3.5 at plus 114.
Yes.
Is the weather shitty?
No, we're good. It's San Diego, baby. You don't got to worry about that.
Means it's always shitty.
It's always sunny in San Diego.
It's shitty as
sunny
usual.
in 72, baby.
Well, I'm about to place this. What do you think of that bet? Dodgers team total over 3.5 at plus 114.
Well, we talk about all the time. It's a systems thing. Guy coming off of a complete game in which he threw 100 plus pitches. I don't care how good he is. And for what it's worth, Dylan Cease also probably due for a little bit of regression.
Oh.
The no-hitter's baked in here, but 180 BABIP, 83% strand rate the last month. Dylan Cease is very good, but I think the Dodgers can score a little bit here. The Padres have been mashing left-handed pitching. I think a total of 7. Ben May's behind the plate calling balls and strikes, so it worries me a little bit, but 7 runs. Even in that shitty San Diego weather where the ball doesn't carry, I think we can get to 7
I thought
runs.
the weather in San Diego was good.
I'm like, it's beautiful to live there, but the ball does not carry in San Diego.
Was carrying fine last night, brother.
I wish we had a mute button. I wish it was like the debate where like Toast's mic got shut off every time we talked about the Padres, and Sauce had to turn it on.
Oh man.
Good time. Hold on. For some reason, it keeps getting stuck on load. I'm trying to bet this. 1 second.
What are you betting? The Dodgers?
Dodgers team total over 3.5 plus 114.
I honestly can see I think Teoscar Hernandez probably goes today too.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think the Dodgers
Come on.
over 2.5 first 7. I think makes a fair amount of sense.
Boom. Got it. I'm in. Let me just share it in the Discord.
I might just play it all total. I might play them over 1.5 first 5, over 2.5 first 7, over 3.5 full game.
All right, just shared it. Okay, let's continue. Let me write it on the screen. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure everyone heard me say it, but just in case someone has it on mute or something, can't stand the sound of my voice, I'll put it up. Dodgers team total over 3. I just bet this just now. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Which is Rockies Angels. I wish I bet the Angels last night. I liked it. And then they went down like 6-0, and I was like, wow, thank God I didn't bet the Angels. Then I look back up at 7-6, and I was like, oh, shit. I like the Angels at minus 130. Didn't bet it. But I also like the under in that game, and there was like a billion runs scored. So,
yeah, I got nothing for this one. I guess over or pass, just because of the starting pitching. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, I don't really have much here. I mean, I guess Rockies are pass at that number. Because I do think Kyle Freeland's a little bit better than Davis Daniel. I mean, Davis Daniel had that one legendary start for us against Detroit. And then since then, Texas destroyed him. Oakland destroyed him. I know that the Rockies are bad, but I bet you he gives up a couple runs to them. They did score 7 last night. So, again, I think the Rockies have a little bit of a starting pitcher. Both these teams, I mean, traded away a lot of guys, especially bullpen arms. So I lean over, but
you lean over? Okay.
Yeah, it's Colorado over either way. It doesn't really matter. It's just I'm not betting this game.
I got nothing. Kamish?
I find myself liking the Rockies, which means I'm not going to bet.
Yeah, you hate the Rockies.
Yeah, I like.
I've never seen Kamish bet the Rockies before, ever.
I never will either.
He won't.
Ever? Not even like in 2031?
No, maybe in the future, but right now, there's absolutely no desire from this front office to win baseball games. So there's no reason for me to bet my money on them. The Angels are 30th in OPS against left-handed pitching in the last 30 days. If there's a game they're going to win, it makes sense they're going to win tonight. Davis Daniels is horrific. This guy, 14% K rate, sub-10 swing and strike rate the last 30 days. He's got the worst stuff other than Drew Thorpe on this slate. And Drew Thorpe stuff plus isn't really it's not modeled properly because his arsenal is so unique. So really, you can make a strong argument that Davis Daniels is the worst starting pitcher on the mound tonight, and he's favored. I think on that alone, you take plus money. Again, philosophically, morally, I can't bet the Colorado Rockies.
I won't be able to sleep tonight.
A Rockies first 5 wouldn't be bad. Rockies versus right-handed pitching last 30 days. I mean, last 14 days, 12th in WRC plus, 4th in OPS, 4th in WOBA.
Yeah.
You're going to have a pretty significant. Yeah, I actually might add Rockies first 5 money line, but yeah, we'll see.
I encourage you to do it. I think it's going to win. I'm not going to bet it myself.
All right, final game, and then we'll get into some New York Jets football.
Whoa.
Yeah, we'll get Prop Beaver on the screen to talk about his beloved Jets. Oakland, San Francisco, Stripling, Logan Webb, and this is the third dog that I thought was worth a swing. But this is what I actually bet. I bet the same exact thing as last night that cashed for me. Toast has been playing this a lot too. Let me get to it.
Last night was huge
Boom.
at that big plus price too.
Yeah, and it was no sweat. They had that shit early. I mean, they scored a couple early.
They could have had it even earlier too.
So I bet this
Loaded with one out.
Oakland team total over. Logan Webb hasn't looked quite the same recently, but honestly, it's not even that I think Logan Webb will get back on track. This is a veteran that we know. It's not necessarily just a fade of Webb. It's a bet on the Oakland bats that continue to be underpriced and continue to be a top 5 lineup in baseball, as wild as that sounds. I mean, we're talking about 5-6 weeks. The Oakland Athletics have been the top 5 lineup, top 10 lineup. So 3.5 plus 120, sure. I think they could win the game too, honestly.
So do I. I see 2.5 on DK at minus 145, and I jump. So you guys know
you
me.
took 2.5?
Yeah,
I got 3.5.
Anytime I can get that. I mean, I think if you watch this show, you guys know me. I'm probably going to take that number. And Logan Webb has been a shell of himself. I mean, I understand the Dodgers are really good and already gave up 4 runs, but on the road in Colorado, again, I've seen a lot of guys pitch well in Colorado. He gave up 4 runs, 7 runs to Toronto. He looked decent on the road in Atlanta. A decent start against the Dodgers. Got lit up by St. Louis. Everybody pitches well against the Cubs. So yeah, I just don't understand at all how you can get to how you can get to San Francisco right now. Not to mention the fact that Oakland over the last 30 days is number 1 in WRC plus, number 3 in OPS, number 2 in WOBA, and they hit his pitch mix well. Yeah, I just don't understand this price in any way, shape, or form.
Well, so one thing I will say, and the reason that I'm holding an Oakland team total over ticket rather than an Oakland money line or an Oakland plus 1.5 is I think the Giants might crush Stripling.
And Oakland's bullpen is not what it once was with Mason Miller on the shelf. They traded Eckridge as well. So now you're looking at Ferguson.
And they used the guys, and they used them last night.
And they used them, all 3 of them yesterday as well.
Yeah, so I as far as Oakland winning the game, I think at plus 180, it's worth a shot, but tread lightly because it's Ross Stripling making a road start. The Giants have gotten to a couple righties recently. Oakland's bullpen is a shell of itself. I would also like over at 7.5 or 8, but these quote-unquote swirling winds that Toast always talks about. Kamish probably loves the swirling winds. Are you a swirling winds guy?
A big swirling winds guy.
I knew it. So, Kamish, what are your thoughts here on this game?
Well, I agree with everything you guys said about Oakland. The price doesn't make any sense to me at all. Oakland has been phenomenal the last month. They've been playing as good a baseball as almost any team in the American League, especially when you factor in the expectations of certain teams, and Oakland certainly not going out trying to make a playoff run. Logan Webb, I will say, has been BABIP to death, 405 BABIP, and he hasn't been giving up a lot of hard contact his last few times through the rotation. So I think you're due for some positive regression. Logan Webb's a guy who goes to cores. He has a very east to west profile, a little tougher to survive in cores when you can't throw the ball by guys. So I get where you're coming from, Toast. I think Logan Webb, there's some bounce back there. But that being said, Oakland's offense has been so freaking good. I don't know how a 3.5, and it's going to be 60 degrees at Oracle today, so that gives me a little bit of concern, especially against Logan Webb. But the price here alone, I think even if you take the 2.5 here, the 2.5 is more juiced. I think they get 3 runs in this game. I think price alone, if you're betting, I think this is the thing that Toast and I talk about sometimes on the pod is if you're betting, if you play a lot of plays each day, and say you play a lot of things for half units or quarter units or whatever, and I know this is how Toast bets, I think this is a spot where you have to bet Oakland. I think I would caution people if you're someone who only has 3 or 4 bets a day, because this is a systems bet. When you see a team like Oakland that's this hot and they're priced as this large of an underdog, it's worth firing, but only if you're going to play it today, tomorrow, the next day, and so forth.
Yeah. Only if you're going to put down the volume where you could even be profitable doing that.
Right. Yeah, you can't pick and choose when you're going to jump on a team like Oakland.
Yeah. All right, so let's do the community parlay is up next. You got if you guys have to roll, no problem. Looks like it. What's up, man?
He was dying to say hi to you. So.
All right. You have him decked out in Padres gear or what?
Hi.
No, he's got Mickey Mouse on.
Oh, Mickey Mouse. Huh? All right, so we'll start the community parlay at the Mets because Yankees Phillies is starting now too. So Mets, Royals, Braves, Brewers. They like the Braves with Sale. And Rangers, Cardinals, shit. We like kind of skipped that game. I'll put Rangers up because that's who I imagine they would have voted, but I don't remember. Oh, community parlay. While they're voting, let's play the song.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We community, making a parlay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
There we go. Looks like this one is Grimace by a mile. A Grimace blowout. Hold on one sec. First up is Nesmont. All right, next up we got Nationals, Diamondbacks. Definitely Diamondbacks. I know they're like
The Snakes.
Mariners money line. That's getting closer to a pick 'em now, guys. All right, second leg of the community parlay. While they're voting, commission want to tell the nice folks where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, on Twitter at Commission Film Room. I run my own Substack as well as my daily research notes, everything that I use to break down the slate, pitcher, starting pitcher notes, umpire information, good bad weather, stuff like that. Also contributing in Prop Bombs Discord if you guys know Prop Bombs. So check me out if you're interested. Also, just know that I've lost a lot of money on Pablo Lopez this year. So.
Disclaimer.
Don't judge me by my Pablo Lopez bets earlier this season. But there's some other good ones in there.
You know what that
too.
shows? It shows loyalty.
I am loyal, but sometimes I'm loyal to the wrong people.
Like
I place a bet, and I think I'm being loyal to Pablo Lopez, but I often forget that I'm also being loyal to the Twins' atrocious defense.
That's true.
Did the Oakland A's win that poll? Holy shit, they did.
The Giants are winning.
That the Oakland A's plus 158, is that going to make the community parlay? I don't think we've ever had a dog that big. All right. So first and second of this poll are making it. First and second place are finishing it out.
The Mets made the poll?
Yeah, by a landslide. They like Grimace today. And so do I.
All right.
Anytime Kyle does this, he loses. Does what? We do this every day. Community parlay. This literally every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Kyle, you're so bad at the community parlay. You never hit it.
These are my favorite comments. Every time people are like, Kyle.
Every time Kyle wears a hat, he loses.
They're literally picking the parlay themselves.
It's like you get like that they're voting. It's not me.
The best is the comments after the show, and they're like talking about the community parlay. Like it's so
Like, these guys suck. Community parlay never hits.
What are they doing?
Hey, real quick question for the audience. So Toast and I are trying to figure out a topic for our next podcast to record. We're talking about maybe doing like a post trade deadline. We'll look at all the futures markets. If anyone has anything that they want us to cover, DM us.
I'd like a deep dive on bat speed.
Okay, 30 minutes on bat speed. If there's anything else that people wants to fit in.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know what we should do is like Toast should tweet out like a Q&A thing, or like not a Q&A, but like any topics thing. Because I think people on Twitter, like when they have a chance to think about it, putting them on the spot now, they might be like, "Oh shit!"
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, like a fan mailbox type of thing. I like that.
That'd be cool. Pull out the thing.
Someone in the comments want to hook me up with some odds?
Mets, Diamondbacks, Padres, A's. Jesus, that's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, Oakland made the community parlay is crazy.
So is Prop Beaver coming on just to talk about?
Only to talk about the New York Jets.
Is there a bet associated with it?
Yeah, we do over-under wins. We're doing all 32 teams, 32 days in a row. So we do one NFL team and 5 college teams every day.
Gotcha. Well, let me know if you need anybody for that.
I'll send you the schedule. I have a whole schedule of what day we're doing each team. Just pick the days that you want to preview a team. I'm trying to fill the schedule up. I have a bunch of people coming on, but literally pick. You'd be like, oh, I want to talk about the Steelers on this day, and like pick your whatever.
Got it.
Plus over 1,200. Scott, over 1,200? You can't give me the real number. Oh, there we go.
You can. I got it. 1468 on DraftKings.
1460. He goes over 1,200.
That is over 1,200.
All right. Mets money line, Diamondbacks money line, Padres money line, Athletics money line plus 1468. All right. Next up, New York Jets. Kamish, thanks for coming on. Toast, talk to you later, man.
Nice seeing you.
Stay goated, Beaver. Stay goated.
All right. Let's see what we. Are you frozen, Prop Beaver? I hear you. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but your images. Is he frozen on yours, Andy? I can't hear you, Andy. Oh, sorry. Maybe I'll put him on the screen and it'll work. All right. Oh, shit. Let me change the names, too. I'm so unprepared. They were avoiding the tough issues. Yo, what's up? Oh, he's got the Jets hat on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So real quick, before we get started, we got Steve just a bet outside on as well. Before we get started, I'm going to get the poll up. Jets over 9.5 wins. Jets under 9.5 wins, so people can vote. I'm going to take a quick piss. So I will be right back.
Okay. Yeah, let me just adjust the audience real quick. I believe those odds are wrong. Kyle was obviously in a rush putting this together today. I had a dentist appointment, so I couldn't do the after effects. The over odds should be minus 150. And the under odds should be plus 125. So vice versa on the odds. You're not getting plus 125 for the Jets to get 10 wins this year with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. So, yes, just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, I didn't know those were the odds.
I would love those odds, man.
Yeah, no kidding. What's going on, fellas?
Yeah, how you doing, man? Good.
Good. Yeah, I feel like this is like one of those legendary shows where Prop Beaver gets back on, and I'm a part of it.
Yeah, I know. It is the return. I'm not fully getting back into handicapping or anything yet. I've been I'm on the diet wave right now. Everybody wants to probably know what I've been up to. I've been doing hardcore dieting. What is it? I've lost I think 35 pounds since I've been gone. So that's what I've been doing the past month and a half, 2 months, if you want to know. So I've been working my ass off, working out, dieting. That's what I've been doing the past 2 months. So
no one gives a shit.
Eat a bag of fucking shit. So now I'm here. So I still am doing that. I don't really want to get back into the gambling thing, trying to find some balance in my life, but I do want to talk some Jets football. Kyle wanted to bring me on, so let's do it.
All right. So it's not just that he's a Jets fan. Specifically, he's an optimistic Jets fan this year, which is a change.
I've been pessimistic about the Jets since I don't know when, but this year I actually have some hope for once.
All right. So where do we want to start? Let's get some Jets stuff up. Hold on. I do have some Jets graphics ready and all that. One sec.
Wait, you got to do all the hard work now that Prop Beaver's on?
Yeah.
I left him in the dust.
I'm a lone wolf here, trying to get everything ready. Oh, here we go. We'll start with some 49ers images. Now, the graphics are set up for games, not so it's all right. So let's start with let's get some Jets coming back with the same. There we go. All right, so same exact coaching staff, right, Prop Beaver?
Yeah, same exact coaching staff here. No big changes there, pretty much. So I guess that's good. The only thing that I wish kind of would change is Nathaniel Hackett. Jesus Christ, wish he wasn't back, but hey, we'll deal with it. Pretty much, Aaron Rodgers, in my mind, will be the offensive play caller, but.
Steve,
Steve,
do you have any thoughts? Are you cool with the coaching staff? What are your overall thoughts on the Jets? So, overall thoughts.
I mean, to be honest, I think the coaching staff is actually one of the weaknesses of this team. But other than that, I am high on this team. Poor Hackett had a terrible go in Denver, and then all of a sudden gets Zach Wilson and crappy quarterbacks the next year. He's worked with Rodgers before, so I think they have a good rapport. But I'm high on this Jets team right now.
I think. Go ahead.
A big reason why is this offensive line. Nobody's really talking about it. I mean, they picked up Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. They were both in the top 10 rated tackles. I mean, they maybe have the best tackle duo in the NFL.
And
so, I mean, it's huge.
And my bad. And they drafted Fashanu behind them, which is huge because this has been a major issue for this Jets offensive line the past 2 seasons, just running into so many injury issues. We're also getting Elijah Vera Tucker back. He only played 5 games last season, 7 games the season before, only 12 games combined last 2 seasons. I'd consider AVT our best offensive lineman. So now you're going to get him back. He's a utility guy. He could play almost any position on the line. He's going to be our right guard. And now you got Fashanu who could play the tackle position. There's a lot of depth, a lot of health on this line, and we also added John Simpson at the left guard. So I really like what Jabo just said. The line is really strong this year. We went from having the worst, probably the worst line in football to now arguably the best line in the division.
And so just to go off that, they ended last year, if you guys like Pro Football Focus, they ended last year as the 31st ranked O-line. They're starting the preseason as the 5th ranked. I mean, and that's no joke. I'm not saying that's, the Bible and we go by that for offensive line, but I mean, I just like it a lot. And obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to change everything. I mean, you're not going to have all 11 guys in the box anymore. So
precisely.
And then of course that changes defense as well, because the defense is not on the field every freaking second of the day. So
yeah. And then they mentioned that I have the graphics on the screen that they're referring to. Jets run blocking last year, 28th in run blocking grade, 30th in adjusted line yards. Pass blocking, 31st in pass block grade, 28th in adjusted sack rate. So, yeah, addressing the offensive line had to be number one on the priority list for the Jets, especially with an aging Aaron Rodgers. I question – and another thing that they mentioned, that they made some additions to the offensive line. But the other thing is these numbers aren't really a reflection of the offensive line they had in place last year, because it was so hurt that you couldn't even – I remember one week when me and Prop Beaver were doing the graphics for a Jets video, they had 6 offensive linemen. Literally, the offensive linemen that were playing in the game, starting in the game, were 7 through 11 on the depth chart. It
was ridiculous.
I've never seen anything like it. So not only did they add a couple pieces, but – I mean, the offensive line was probably a little undervalued based on the injuries alone. So let's go ahead and pull up real quick. I want to pull up addition subtraction for the Jets. Now, they mentioned – here we go. Let's make it bigger. We mentioned Tyron Smith already, Morgan Moses. Anywhere else you guys want to address subtractions? I know they added Hassan Reddick.
I think we should just keep it on the offensive side. I want to mention Mike Williams because I feel like that is a nice addition. Not in the fact that I think Mike Williams is going to put up any gaudy numbers this season. He is coming off of an ACL tear. This is a guy who I love Mike Williams. I've always thought that Mike Williams is a supreme talent on the outside. The dude could just go up and get any ball you want. We've seen it. He's a fantastic talent, but the injuries are going to catch up to him. I just think that what he could do and the attention that he could take away from Garrett Wilson is going to be so big for him. We all know that Garrett Wilson is an excellent talent in the NFL, but we've really not gotten to see what his true potential could be due to horrible QB play and the amount of focus that defenses are putting on him. Well, now he has a true legitimate wide receiver opposite from him. You could put like a Corley in the slot. And on top of that, now, as Jabba was alluding to earlier, you can't really stack the box for Breece Hall. I mean, Breece Hall, despite his talent, despite being such an efficient running back his rookie season before the injury, he had one of the lowest success rates in all of football last season. If that 30th ranked run block win rate improved to league average, we could be looking at a top 10 back in terms of DVOA. So I just really see Mike Williams not only improving Garrett Wilson, but the run game as well, and really improving the red zone. The red zone has been a massive issue for the Jets, not only under LaFleur, but Hackett as well. I mean, this has been a bottom 3 red zone attack the last 2 seasons. I think that with Rodgers, this could be a top 10 red zone attack. So I just think that this is going to be a dramatically better attack across the board, obviously, with Rodgers. And I know there are concerns with the health. I don't know if Jabbo has any points he wants to make with the Achilles for Rodgers and the injury concerns.
No, Rodgers went into a dark room for 24 hours, so he's good. Honestly, just to go off your point real quick, I mean, I'm not expecting Aaron Rodgers to come and be just this dominant guy. And to be honest with you, even though everyone's talking about Rodgers, the way this offense and team is successful, they run the ball and play defense. Rodgers just needs to make those big plays, those big play action, those third down plays. But I worry about their wide receiver depth, like you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Williams is the guy, like you said, torn ACL. He's had injury issues. Maybe one of the best one-on-one receivers there is. Throw the ball up, he'll go get it. Not a guy who just gets open easily, every time. So if he can stay healthy, Alan Lazard is on the team. He doesn't do anything for me. He's kind of inconsistent. He's shown it with Rodgers, but no tight end really, to be honest, unless I'm missing something really. Tyler Conklin, is that the starting tight end?
You're not a Conklin guy? You don't like Conklin?
He's okay. It's nothing special. Rodgers could turn him into something.
Okay.
But for the most part, I do think they're thin at receiver, but I am all aboard the Breece Hall train. I mean, I think he's going to have an unbelievable year. He had almost 1,500 yards last year total with terrible quarterbacks, and I mean terrible. I think he's going to have a huge year. So I think it's a running defense type team if they want to succeed.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the weapons. I forgot to put. Did you want to talk about this graphic here,
Yes.
Bob Reaver?
So I just want to give some credence to the people who are down on Aaron Rodgers going into this season. I think there are some definitely some legitimate concerns. I mean, in Rodgers last year in Green Bay, his play did take a step backwards. I mean, he was 16th in yards above replacement, 21st in DVOA. It's impossible to say, is this the start of his decline, or is that just him not having Devontae Adams? I mean, look at that fall off in DVOA. I mean, year before, 1st in DVOA, 2nd in DYAR, compared to 16th and 21st. But when I was going on Matt Harmon's reception perception right before this, I was looking at Christian Watson, Dobbs, Lazard in 2022 and looking at their success rates against man zone and press coverage. The guys just simply weren't winning their routes. I mean, if you remember that year, kind of the storyline was that Rodgers just wasn't connecting with these guys. And based off the numbers, they just weren't really doing well. Garrett Wilson last year, with the dog shit quarterbacks he had the 3rd best success rate against man coverage in all of football. I mean, I just see Rodgers at the very least getting back in the right direction. And let's not forget the 3 years prior. I mean, neither 10% nor 20% DVOA was a huge ask from Rodgers. I mean, he was blown by those numbers. Anything close to that level play in 2023. And the New York Jets are 3rd in total DVOA behind the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, they're blowing by that total. Kyle, if you go to the next table and you want to look at 40-year-old quarterbacks, it's table 2. I'll just wait.
40-year-old quarterbacks. I have it. Yep.
Yeah. So everybody's concerned about the age here, obviously, for Rodgers. 41-year-old quarterbacks is where the cliff seems to happen. Let's look at age 40 quarterbacks here. Tom Brady, 1st in DYAR, 2nd in DVOA, went off that season. Drew Brees, 3rd in DYAR, 1st in DVOA. Brett Favre, 5th DYAR, 4th in DVOA. So guys at age 40, it seems pretty impossible in such a physical, rugged sport, but these guys are continuing to produce at a high level, and now the sport, compared to those years, which are 5+, I mean, Brett Favre, that's over 10 years ago. This is a much less physical sport than it is now. The game caters much more to these players, and if you go to table number 3, Kyle, this is even more important to our case individually with the injury for Rodgers. This is looking at older players with injuries. So we got Peyton Manning, age 36, major neck injury. He came back completely fine. 2nd DYAR, 2nd DVOA. Tom Brady, 32, ACL. Let's not use that example. I think the best one is probably Warren Moon. Age 41, broke his collarbone. was able to be 7th in DYR, 8th in DVOA that next season. So there is examples of guys coming back from these injuries and still producing at a high level. I think if there is a guy who could fit that mold, if there is a situation where a guy could come back and produce at this level, it is Rogers. He has the defense. This is the situation for it to happen. So, yeah, I really am in on this Jets offense. Sorry for rambling, guys.
No, I mean, he's a that's why I wanted him to come on, because he's a Jets fan and he's always pessimistic. This is the first time I've ever seen him excited about the Jets. Jabo, anything you want to add before we move on to the defense?
Yeah, only on the sauce will you get 40-year-old quarterback charts, as well as talk about Warren Moon when it's time for the Jets. No, I agree with them. And you said Peyton Manning. It almost has a little feel of Peyton Manning when he won the Super Bowl, right? They won with defense. They won with running the ball, and Peyton Manning did enough. I thought he was pretty bad that year, to be honest with you, but he did enough to win a World Series. See, I'm talking baseball every day. To win a Super Bowl. So I mean, it kind of reminds me of that. I think Rodgers has a little more left in the tank than Peyton Manning, but I mean, it's kind of similar to me. But other than that, no offense. It's the Breece Hall show, and they need some help with Garrett Wilson, and they'll be just fine.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll switch it over to the defense. And Jabo, is there any particular area you want to start? And I'll get the appropriate graphic on the screen.
The front seven.
My
goodness, are they good?
All right. I'll get some.
Dude,
I'll get
ridiculous.
All right. So I'm getting some front seven graphics up on the screen, and I mean they're going to be very positive. And it sounds like, Steve, that you think they're going to be very positive again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I think I saw they had the fourth highest quarterback pressure rate last year in the NFL, or top 3 or something like that. It's just ridiculous. I mean, Quinnen Williams, they added Hassan Reddick, Javon Kinlaw. What I love about the defensive line in the front seven is how deep they are this year. Solomon Thomas, they're just guys up and down. And then, of course, you still got, Quinnen Williams' brother. You got C.J. Mosley at linebacker. The whole front seven is unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to agree. I don't think many people disagree about this front seven.
No, it's hard to poke holes in the Jets defense. I mean, I have their defensive line against the run numbers up. They're actually not crazy, but 14th in run defense grade, 9th in adjusted line yards. But everything else with this, I mean, first in the NFL in yards per attempt allowed in man coverage, second in passer rating allowed in man coverage. I mean, everything looks really good. 4th in pressure rate, 4th in adjusted sack rate without blitzing. 4th in pressure rate, 4th in adjusted sack rate, blitzing just 16.3% of the time.
The key.
That is the key right there. Here's their pass rush numbers. Again, 6th in pass rush grade, 4th in adjusted sack rate without blitzing. And you can be really effective on the defensive side if you do that. Prop Beaver, anything and what can we expect on the defensive side other than they're going to be a lead again?
See, that's the thing. I mean, I'm a guy who, when I look at defenses, and I want to give credit to Aaron Schatz and kind of the FTN Almanac for kind of making me think this way, kind of reading it the past 2 or 3 years now. I kind of look for defenses to kind of positively regress and negatively regress on a year-to-year basis. That's what I learned from reading it last year, and it helped me kind of preemptively look at the Cleveland Browns as a defense that could be really good last year. It's kind of like a plexiglass type thing where you see these defenses based on whether it's injury luck or personnel turnover or just maintaining an elite level of defense in the NFL is a really, really hard thing to do. Much harder than it is to do in comparison to offenses. So when it comes to the Jets defense, one could be it could be a hard thing to do for the Jets to keep this defensive consistency together. But the thing is, I think the Jets are very capable of doing it. I mean, for one thing, they've already done it. They finished top 6 in defensive DVOA back-to-back seasons, so they've already proven they could do it. On top of that, they have stars at every level, like Jabo was just saying. I mean, they have 7 former first-round picks on the defensive front.
It's crazy.
Not many teams could say they have an all-pro in every single level of the defense. I mean, all-pro lineman, all-pro linebacker, all-pro corner. In terms of positive regression spots, I mean, the Jets only recovered 8 of 24 fumbles on the defense. They led the NFL with 150 penalties. That's 0.8 more penalties per game than any other team. Jeez. So they still left more meat on the bone. And then this is something I just thought was stupid. Michael Carter Jr., that's our nickel corner. He led the NFL in all qualifying cornerbacks in yards allowed per pass. I mean, amongst nickel corners.
Wow.
Like, nickel corners like good.
That's
Like,
wild.
God damn it, man.
I was going to ask you that. I was like, what do you I was going to ask you what you think about the nickel corner. I didn't know he was that good last year. That's impressive.
It's just stupid, man. It's stupid. And now we're getting Chuck Clark back. He was supposed to be our starter last year. He didn't even play last year because he tore his ACL before the season started. I've gone into every Jets season pessimistic. It can't happen. We're going to lose. Like everything wrong will happen. It will go wrong. And I felt that last season going in, but you know what the hype was? It was all hype last season. It was all good hype. You know what the hype is this season? Oh, Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, they're fighting on the sideline. How could a 40-year-old who tore his Achilles possibly win a Super Bowl? Watch him do it. Go Jets, baby.
Also, I feel like it's a perfect. I mean, this is like because he's such a add-on piece where we didn't even mention him. Reddick, tell me that's not a perfect spot for him to bounce back and I mean,
well, he's holding out right now. Obviously, I would hope he signs eventually. I mean, Chris Jones held out for like a few games, and he still performed at a high level most of the season, but he can miss a few games.
All right, so let's go ahead and get the Jet schedule. Let's play some win-loss games, and we'll see if we're going over or under. Sounds like Prop Beaver's going over, though.
I'm going over, and I'll be taking them to win the division as well.
Well, let's go. Let's bring it up on the screen first. Okay. So Jets schedule, here it is. Let me make it smaller.
And he mentioned earlier those over odds are actually the minus 150. Those are switched.
Yeah.
Oh, so I did them backwards. Yeah, I'm setting it up pretty.
I explained the entire situation. Okay. You don't got to do it. Yeah.
Okay. So it's the over 9.5 is minus 150. The under is plus 125. So at San Francisco, is that a loss?
Yes.
At Tennessee's a win. And we were just talking about this last night. Pretty much, once you get past San Francisco, the Jets are in cruise control for a while. From week 2 down to even after their bye week to Seattle. Week 2, can you see my mouse? No. All right, so from week 2 to week 13, there's a lot of wins in there. 1, 2, 3. Maybe they probably drop one of the New England games just because they always do. Yeah. Maybe they get beat in Pittsburgh. I don't even know, though, about that. Maybe. I mean, the Colts could be dangerous. Maybe the Colts come in and beat them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I could see us losing to, either to the Colts or Pittsburgh. I mean, or losing to Buffalo or New England, 1-1.
I don't think it's crazy.
And then taking 2 of those. I see us losing 3 or 4 during that span.
I don't think it's crazy that the Jets go into Miami in week 14, 9-3. That sounds freaking nuts. But where are the 4 losses? If you're saying, okay, so I'm saying they're going to be 9-3 going into Miami week 14. If you disagree with that, where are the 4 losses? San Francisco, one of the Patriots games, at Pittsburgh, maybe. That's a maybe. I don't know how good the Steelers are going to be. So, let's say yes, they lose.
I think the key thing is that if we look on the road, who we're playing, right? We're playing Tennessee on the road. The offenses we're playing on the road are not good, and our defense at home is insane. These offense, dude, think about it. Philly came into our home last year. We didn't have Sauce Gardner. We didn't have DJ Reed. The offense could do shit. AJ Brown was held renderless.
All right. I don't know. So, let's say 8-4 because they could lose to Houston. But then the final game. So can they win 2 of these finals games? At Miami, at Jacksonville, home against the Rams, at Buffalo, home against Miami. Yeah, it's minus 150, but I don't know how you don't like the over for the Jets, right? Is everyone down for that?
I'm on the over.
All right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not going to bet a future for minus 150.
Yeah,
but I think they win over 9.5. You want to look at the division. It's going to be tough. This division has a tough schedule, by the way. It is brutal. The Jets have a guaranteed loss on December 1st that you're missing also.
Oh. Well, let me get it back up on the screen. A guaranteed
loss.
He's talking about his favorite team. I almost guarantee it. On which day?
December 1st.
Home against Seattle.
To the Seahawks.
That's right. He lives in Washington State.
Yeah, at home to Seattle. I mean, I actually do like the Seahawks quite a bit this year. I like Rubs a lot, but
yeah, they're okay. But no, they have a tough schedule. But over 9.5, I mean, I don't see how they don't go on over. And if you're someone who wants to bet the under wins, do it after they go 4-1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then that line is going to be because they're going to be 4-1 after 5. I mean, that's
If you want to bet the under on the Jets, I feel like you wait until the gauntlet at the end of the year. Just like wait precisely.
Wait till they're like
Yeah.
8-4, and then take under 9.5 if you think they're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
All right,
not
you might
losing,
get 10.5.
They're not losing to New England, by the way. They're not. There's
If
no
they
way
if they
losing
take
to it.
both the games against the Patriots, then this is the easiest over ever.
Yeah. And they should. I don't see how they can't. It's
Because
If
if
they don't-
that franchise owns them.
I know, but Belichick, I get it. It does.
If we get swept, I'm calling the cops, bro. If we get swept, I'm calling the cops. If Jalen Polk and co beats our ass twice, I'm calling the cops. That would be better.
It's gonna
By
happen.
the way, 3 of the first 5 games, like you were saying, it's against like Will Levis, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold, JJ.
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
It's just garbage. It's garbage.
All right, it's time to talk some college football. Steve, thanks for joining.
All right.
Steve will be back on Friday for Cleveland Browns, right?
That's right. Yep.
And on
Appreciate
Friday,
it, man.
that'll be closer to 5 p.m. Eastern time, by the way.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is early for me. I'm doing. It's
Me too.
9:30.
Yeah, this is early for us too. Usually it's 4 p.m. It's because of the day game. So
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
Rob,
appreciate
Beaver,
it, guys.
I'll see you in like an hour.
I'll head over now, honestly.
All right, cool. All right,
Yeah. All right.
let's
Peace.
get Andrew on the screen. Andy, you still with us? There you are. We should have brought you on to say that in front of.
I think that could be a
That would have been an interesting
schedule
point.
mess up. Or it's either London or Germany. There was an asterisk next to it.
Yeah, but it being in Germany is just as weird for the Vikings.
Sam
as it is.
Darnold revenge game. if he's still the quarterback.
Yeah, if he's even the
If
quarterback
he's
at
even
that point.
starting.
All right, so we let's talk Zips football.
Go Zips.
One sec, let me get my slideshow here. All right, let's get it up on the screen. Let me switch from the Jets graphics to the Zips graphics. Now, this I'm sure when we talk Akron, that's when a lot of people click the stop stream button. But we're gonna go through 5 MAC teams. These will be edited and uploaded, so if you don't have time to catch it now. So over 3.5 wins. Under Akron, under 3.5 wins. Okay, so Akron. What was my question about Akron? All right, let's just pull it up because I can't. The one I'm concerned about, the team that I want to talk about most is Ball State because what's going on with Kylie. But we'll get there. All right, let's start with some coaching staff. Same staff, right? Well, Fessler's gone.
Yeah, they're I believe it's Moorhead going to call the plays now, right? And Moorhead is 4-20 in his time at Akron, so it's been rough since he got there. He was at Mississippi State, wasn't very good there.
But what's the but? He might finally have a quarterback that can play a little bit.
Yes, I thought they did a pretty good job getting Ben Finley, the transfer quarterback. They needed that. That helps them a ton. Their offense was awful. They were 127th in beta rank last year, but Finley is a guy that, I mean, he didn't wow you, but he's better than what they had, and I think him coming here, he had to come here because he wasn't going to start at Cal anymore because Mendoza took over there. But in his limited playing time there, he was fine. Bringing in a quarterback is so important in the MAC because if you go through all the quarterbacks, there's a lot of good ones, and I think he's toward the top of the list. And this offense, it desperately needed it. You see the numbers; they're all red for a reason. 129th in yards per play passing, 120th in yards per carry. I mean, I don't even know. That's awful. I mean, there's nothing really you can say about that. That's just...
These are really bad. And okay, so let's go to returning starters because this is what I'm concerned about. Is Ben Finley not the best numbers when pressured? Not that most quarterbacks do struggle when pressured. That's not unusual. But he was particularly bad. His passer rating, I think it was, when pressured. Akron struggled to protect the quarterback last year. They're only returning 3 offensive starters. So okay, you got the coach who wants to throw the ball. Oh, that's another thing, because where's the frequency numbers? They like to throw the ball. They're 12th in pass frequency. So you have a head coach in Moorhead that wants to throw the ball. You give him a quarterback that has some talent in Finley. Can you keep him safe with 3 returning starters?
Yeah, the O-line last year, the pass blocking numbers are just as bad as every other number. from what I've read, and their additions, I believe, show the guys don't have the greatest grades in terms of bringing in O linemen. They did bring in a Lyons. He's a guard. They brought in a tackle, Eli Fields. But these guys are low grades at the schools that they were at, so you don't expect them to come in and be great right away. That's my biggest concern for this team, because obviously defensively they were really good last year, or they were just part of the course in the MAC. They're a pretty good defense. They all are, but their offense was so much worse than everybody else's, and this is a spot where I think it's probably going to be the downfall of this team. If they're not able to block anybody, it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is, how good your running backs are, however you feel. They can't block anybody. They're an awful team. If he's on his ass all day, all game, they can't get the ball moving. And I think that's my number one concern from this team as well. Bad O-lines can ruin a team, and you can have all the talent in the world. They don't have the talent. From what I've seen, Phil Steele says that they are talented, but that's a great way to say, well, they got talented players. Doesn't mean it's going to work.
Yeah.
So,
and one thing I will say is Akron has some nice defensive numbers. First of all, look at the returning production. 56th in returning defensive production. And for a MAC team, that's really good, because these smaller conferences are really struggling to hold on to their players. So they're bringing back 6 defensive starters. And it's not like this was a trash defense last year. Check this out. So Akron's defense, let me make this graphic a little bigger so you guys can see it. So 44th in yards per play allowed, 38th in success rate, 48th in points per play allowed, I believe. It's the same as EPA, estimated points allowed. PPA is a similar metric to that. Look at the pass defense, 22nd in success rate. So this was a good MAC defense last year that brought back 6 starters. So if this defense is good again, which it should be, may allow Moorhead to be a little conservative with his play calling, maybe get the ball out quick, take some quicker shots. I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
This team will probably come down to how we'll see. I mean, they got a brutal schedule to start, but we'll see them. If their O-line is competitive, then it will help them a ton, but they're going to have a rude awakening the first few weeks of the season.
So let's go. Speaking of which, let's look at the schedule. Here it is.
Yeah.
They open up.
3 of their first 4 games are brutal.
They open up in Columbus, loss. At Rutgers, loss.
One of the best defensive lines in the country they're going to be facing in Rutgers. That's not a joke either. That's serious.
No, they're going to get their shit kicked in by Rutgers.
Colgate will be a win.
Yeah, that's a win. Then at South Carolina, loss. What do the Bobcats look like this year?
Ohio's an improved team. They're going to be better.
Did they lose a lot of the pieces on defense, though?
Yes, defense will be.
Well, that's all they had last year was defense.
Their offense did bring in a running back. They have a good running back room at Ohio this year, and their quarterback's Parker Navarro this year. So they like what they have. I think in this situation, going to Ohio will be a rough one for Akron. It's a rivalry game, so it's big, but
it's probably a loss. I'm just saying, Ohio's offense sucked. Even when Rourke came back from injury, they were so bad. All they had last year was a defense, and if that defense, they lost a lot of pieces, Ohio could potentially be really bad this year.
I do want to mention that Akron has not beaten Ohio since 2017, so that is
maybe this is the year. So let's say probably loss for the 28th. Yeah. Probably loss. Home, I think Bowling Green might be good this year.
Yeah, Bowling Green's going to be good.
They're
Bowling
good.
Green's going to contend for the top of this conference. And
I don't know. I haven't looked at Western Michigan yet.
On the road at Western Michigan, I have listed as a loss. It's more of a toss-up, but
how about we call Western Michigan and Ohio questionables? We'll give them one of those. Yeah. They steal one. So that puts them at 2 wins. Home Eastern Michigan.
They're going to beat Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan does not look like a good team.
Home.
Buffalo's probably the worst team in this conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, Buffalo's awful.
That's 3.
And I have them a Mo in 3 the rest of the way.
You'll lose to Kent State?
Yeah, they're Kent State. That'll be a battle of two terrible teams.
I know. I remember the game last year.
Kent State's not terrible. They're a bit improved, but they're still going to be bad. I think that'll be a close one. Toledo's going to be a very good team, and Northern Illinois is always a tough place.
They're not going to go up into NIU on November 13th and win, and they'll lose to Toledo. But Kent State's winnable. Buffalo, they win. So that's Buffalo, Eastern Michigan, Colgate. There's 3. Either they have to steal one of Western Michigan, Ohio, or Kent State. I think they could steal one.
I have them 3 and 9. I think that if you bet the 4 wins, if you're betting them, you're asking them, and I know it sounds stupid, you're asking to double their win total from last year. after
I don't care
not
about that.
returning much of an offense. I mean, bringing in Finley's great. Are they going to block for him? Are they going to be able to get anything done on offense? Their defense is fine. Obviously, it was very good. It was pretty solid last year, and a lot of them are back. But you're asking them to win 2 more games for a team with a tougher schedule. I don't see it.
I think they win one of those. So I'm putting the.
You're going over? I got them under.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll put them at 4. I don't know if this is one that I bet. So far,
No,
my favorite's that UTEP one.
Yeah. UTEP and Western Kentucky are my 2 favorites to this point that we've gone over. Yeah, this is tough because once you get down to like 3.5, you're betting on a team to win 2 or 3 games is really tough for me to take their unders. I'm taking it, but I probably won't bet them to win 3 games. That's
next. Ball State, and what the hell happened to Kyle? Oh my God, what's his name? Kyle, the quarterback. Kyle. Holy shit! Hold on, let me get the notes open first. So for those of you that didn't watch MAC football last year, they started off with this kid at quarterback. The kid that's starting now. So the guy that's starting at quarterback this year, Simonza.
Simonza. Yeah.
But they started last year with him at quarterback, right? But Kyle, I can't think of his name. Kyle,
Kyle Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Kyle Kelly. So Kyle Kelly took over, and there was a resurgence. Now, the resurgence and the games they won. Let's bring up the games from last year so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, excuse me. So here's the game logs from last year. Kyle Kelly took over in the Toledo spot. Look from week 7 on. Look at ATS winners. 6-0 against the spread. So they were looking terrible. With the kid Simonza at quarterback. Kyle Kelly takes over. They finished the year 3-3, 6-0 against the spread. Kyle Kelly declared for the portal, but didn't go anywhere, right?
So this is weird, and this is where you get into a weird spot for Ball State. He's listed as a defensive back on their website at this point. So that would make me assume he did not want to play quarterback anymore. Now,
what?
This is because he's 2024 preseason All MAC as a defensive back. So unless they have another kid with the exact same name.
I'm not seeing him here.
Well, you're looking on Our Labs. I'm on their team website. He had 12 games. Yeah, he did have pretty good stats at quarterback, but he's listed as a DB, which means he's not playing quarterback. I mean, maybe if this guy's that bad again, but this is Simonza's a veteran, so I wouldn't see it. But yeah, this is why Ball State's a weird situation too, because if you look at their coaching staff, they're both coordinators are different. But let me explain the difference at OC. The DC is completely new. They brought him in Knowles. He was at Butler at FCS school.
Any relation to Jim?
Honestly, I didn't look, but I'm sure they're similar. Both DCs too. But he was at Butler, so whatever about him. But look at the OC. So Jared Elliott was the co-offensive coordinator last year, but I put Lynch as the guy because Lynch was calling plays. Okay. Lynch is now promoted to being the assistant head coach, and Elliott's going to call plays now. Now, this offense was awful last year. If you look at this, the numbers were awful. They had their resurgence with him at quarterback, but the numbers still show that they were not very good. This is a desperation move to me by Coach New, I think is how you say his name. This is desperation move. They took a co-offensive coordinator. They're giving him to the play calling now. They got a new DC, so it's kind of the kiss of death as we've talked about in the NFL.
Death.
2 new coordinators, even though the guy was there. He wasn't calling plays, so now he's coming in to do it. This coaching staff's very weird. This reeks of desperation to me from this team. They're preseason ranked 9th, which is right below Akron. So obviously the media doesn't think they're very good. They didn't return much defensively or offensively. They didn't return much at all. Brought in some transfers, but
they returned 8 starters on the offensive end. But here's the thing about okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, they returned 8 starters on offense. Their defense won. So, by the way, the defense was the only you know what? Let's talk about that first. So, look at their defense. Their defense is actually respectable last year. 26th in yards per play allowed, 25th in yards per carry allowed, 32nd in yards per pass attempt allowed. Just a good defense last year with really nice-looking numbers. Look, that's their whoops. Let me get to where's their freaking defensive numbers. My bad. I must have skipped over them. But anyway, the point I'm making is their defense was solid last year, but they only returned one starter. Where they're getting pieces back is on offense, and this offense was so bad that they literally switched the quarterback out twice, and they were sitting at 1-6 with losses to Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. They got beat 40-3 by Georgia Southern. 40-3 by Georgia Southern at home. So, like, okay, they're bringing 8 pieces of the offense back. Do you even want them back? They were so bad. Then they switched to Kyle Kelly at quarterback. And like Andy said, it's not that he was particularly good at quarterback, but when they switched to him, the entire team started playing better, specifically on the defensive end. So, yeah, I don't care that they're bringing 8 starters back on offense. The offense was terrible.
Yeah, they also, one of those guys they lost offensively, Marquez Cooper was a 1,000-yard rusher last year.
Yeah,
so
he's gone. He's at
Kelly,
San Diego State, I think.
Yeah, with Kelly not being a quarterback, I guess, because even Phil Steele has him listed as a defensive back, that means that it's 1,800 yards of rushing that they're losing, and their next highest rusher that's returning to the team this year is Pemberton, who had 141 yards. So they're returning no rushing. They brought in a running back from Eastern Kentucky. I don't know how much that's going to do.
Yeah, why wasn't he coming up? Why couldn't I didn't have any additions on the
additions
spreadsheet.
I had to look up myself. I don't know why. I tried to fix it, but I don't know why our Ball State additions.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I'll fix that.
So I looked up. They took a guy from Eastern Kentucky. I'm not a skill position guy when it comes to coming from the FCS. That scares me. Very rarely do you see a team hit. I mean, you've seen it in the past, but I don't know if we're seeing Ball State hit in that situation. They ran the ball a ton last year, and now they don't really have a running game. So that's why I'm not very high on this team either.
So let's do the WL thing.
Oh yeah, I got it done. Here we go.
All right, so win Missouri State.
Oh yeah.
Loss. The Chippewas lost Jace Bauer though, but he wasn't really the full time.
I would still take them to lose this game.
Yeah, me too.
State, yeah.
At James Madison, hard loss.
Yeah, they're gonna lose that.
Western Michigan, home. I think that's a lot.
They lost to them last year, and Western Michigan's returning a good amount of players, I believe.
At Kent State, you like Kent State? You said
Kent State's going to be improved, so I believe that this is a game that Ball State will lose.
At Vanderbilt, loss.
Yeah.
Northern Illinois loss. Miami, Ohio loss.
Yeah,
at
Buffalo could be a win. Middle week game, I would actually give them the win at Buffalo. I know it late in the season, probably going to be relatively cold, but I don't think that matters for Ball State. So
and then Bowling Green and Ohio lost. So we got 2 wins with a possible win against Central Michigan, possible win against Western Michigan, possible win against Kent State. So 2 wins, 3 possible.
4. I have them at 3 again.
Yeah, this would be under for me too. Let's put it up. Ooh, the graphic says 4. Can you get 4s? If this is,
I was on Action Network. So
okay. So on DraftKings, I believe I looked the 3.5, but the juice to the under. So
I was gonna bring that up. DraftKings odds are quite odd. I was looking at. Well, that sounded weird. I had the Raven. I was looking at the NFL one yesterday. They had the Ravens at 8.5 at -400 listed. I was like, so I'm not taking my future. I don't use DraftKings for futures. I use FanDuel, but I found it very weird the difference. That's why I was just going.
I'll pull up an odds comparison tool right now, and we can like really look. So futures. Where's wins? Regular season. No. Regular season wins. Boom. Okay. So we're looking for Ball State. You can get it under 4.5 at -164. Oh, here we go. It's at 4. This is at 4, not 3.5. So this it's at 4 on DraftKings. So under 4. Yo, I might bet this. I think this is win or push, in my opinion. Someone said Georgia Southern had a fire run game, a decent quarterback. Oh, yeah, for sure. Georgia Southern was the better team. They should have won the game. But 40-3 is
we weren't worried about the team. It was more getting blown out in that situation.
All right.
Not good.
Seems like half your subs are fake, bro. Your bets are trash. What are you talking about?
Good Lord.
I don't know. All right, next game. Next team, Bowling Green.
Yeah. Same coaching staff, same quarterback. polls up.
All right. Let me switch over my. Oh, whoops. Bowling Green is looking positive.
Yes, very positive on this team. 7-6 last year. No, I have their coach listed wrong, but tied for third in the preseason poll, so highly considered. Connor Bazelak's back, so
yeah, they bring the quarterback back. And it technically Steve Morrison's the defensive coordinator, and I guess that's technically new, but he was there last year. I guess he was just the assistant defensive coordinator. So, same coaching staff back. They also bring a decent amount of production back here. For a MAC team, this is excellent. 46th in returning production, 25th offensively, 8 returning offensive starters, 7 returning defensive starters, including the quarterback, Bazelak from Missouri that they had last year, who's good. He didn't have the most amazing year last year at Bowling Green. They actually split time with him and another guy. What was the other guy that was getting a lot of time for him? They had like a quarterback that could scramble. That was actually getting reps over Bazelak. Orth.
Yeah. Orth.
So is Orth still there as well?
Yes, he's actually backup.
So they still got both those guys?
They have both. They're returning a ton offensively. I will give them that.
They still have Orth. They still have Bazelak. Yeah. So this is Bowling Green might be a problem. Let's go ahead and scroll through some of these graphics. All right. Bowling Green offense. Here we go. 61st in yards per carry, 43rd in rushing success rate. Passing, not as impressive. But you think Bazelak returning with the same OC, the same head coach, a lot of his returning starters, that should improve. Defensive numbers look pretty solid.
Yeah, defense was very good last year. And that's a common theme in the MAC. Everybody feels like they have a good defense.
Yeah, 26th in yards per play allowed, 43rd in points PPA allowed. Yeah, defense stuff looking pretty good. Here is the Bowling Green offensive numbers. Slightly better at home. 58th, 56th, 71st. All right. Run blocking, pass blocking. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
pass
they're not
blocking.
a good block. Yeah, their O-line was – I had that.
Now, this probably explains why they were using Orth, because Bazelak was ineffective because they couldn't get time. Now, returning some starters on the offensive line, does this improve the pass blocking?
It should. They said their top 8 of the 10 O-linemen they had playing significant time last year are back. So even if they were struggling, I guess another year in the system should help their O-linemen get better. They brought somebody in the portal, I believe, toward the top. Nick Raymer. That's a pretty good pickup. Solidly rated. That needs to improve. I mean, that's the big hole there. If you're not blocking for Bazelak, you can't do anything. Yards per attempt F grade when he was pressured.
When pressured.
Yeah, so you need to protect him, because honestly, there's no reason why you should have to use a different quarterback. He's a very good quarterback, but he can't really move, and you need to have somebody else, and that's why they had Orphan. But yeah, that needs to improve.
Also, some terrible passing numbers against zone coverage. I'm not sure what that really tells us right now.
Until we have a matchup there. That's actually, Bowling Green does start with Penn State. That is.
Yeah, let's.
Or they have that on the schedule.
Let's check that out. Bowling Green's schedule here.
They open up with a win, and then back-to-back tough ones.
All right, window capture. Boom. All right, yeah, they're gonna beat Fordham in week 1 or 0. No, that is week 1. So win, 2 losses without a doubt, then a win. So you're 2-2. At Akron, that could win. Should be a win.
Yes, that one's a win. The next one's a loss. Northern Illinois. Yeah.
At home in October.
Tough one.
Winnable.
It's definitely winnable, but I had it listed as a loss. Then they get a win against.
Then they win. So it's 4 definite wins with a possible, in my opinion. At Toledo's a loss. Central Michigan, November 5th on the road. It's tougher.
I think I have it listed as a win. I think they get that one, but Central Michigan lost their quarterback. A lot. I believe they lost a lot from what I was looking at. They
should take at least one of those Central Western Michigan games.
Yeah, and then Ball State should be a win. They're not going. That game could be for the MAC, that division in the MAC, but against Miami, Ohio, the last game of the regular season, I have them losing it though. I'm very high on Miami of Ohio, like everybody else is. They are heavily, I believe, favored to win this conference.
All right, so let's see what kind of odds we're getting here. On the screen I have, but let's check. So you can get an over 6.5 at plus 118. I have, looking at this, I have 6 that I think they'll win. Let's see, 1, 2.
I have them 7 and 5 personally,
4,
so I believe they will hit the over.
5. So yeah, there's 6 wins here, so they could steal maybe this road game against Central Michigan would be the 7th, or
that's where I got it. That's
I
the
think they
big
could steal
difference
this
that I have
game.
now.
Northern Illinois. All right, let's do it. Let's go. over.
Probably a better shot, I think, at the Central Michigan game. But yes, it's about they have to steal at least one. That's their big thing. That's gonna be Bowling Green's big thing. If you're betting this, I'm gonna go on the idea that they will steal at least one of those.
All right. Next up.
Oh boy. Buffalo.
The total's at 5.5 according to this graphic.
Yeah. This is a miss. I don't understand why they're. I wouldn't look at them and say they got better from their additions or anything. I don't really. They brought in a new coach, and I don't understand this 5.5. This is I guess that's why it's minus 160. But this should be an awful football team.
All right, let's get my graphics on for Buffalo. All right, let's go to the coaching staff. Head coach. Oh, damn it! I hate when the slideshow goes. All right. So new DC Bowen, or was he there last year?
New DC.
He's new.
Yeah, new DC. They didn't have a DC. Lembo is a defensive guy, so he called defensive stuff.
Oh, so
He'll do that for
same
the team.
coaching staff. That's a positive.
Yeah.
Attorney production, just 3 return. Now, this is what I was concerned with Buffalo, because I was looking at this morning. The only thing they could do last year was score, right? Very offensive reliant.
Yeah.
Offense is gone.
They're gone. Yeah, they're gone. Oh, yeah, they're all gone. Their offensive beta rank was 129 last year, which for the MAC, I guess, is awful. Whatever. But not bringing anybody back from a team that needed to score was crazy. I didn't understand that at all. That's why I'm like the way that I looked at this when I saw this number was 5.5. I had already looked at the team. I looked at the number.
Wait. Do I have this backwards? Their defensive numbers.
Yeah. Their defense. The defense was the better side, but I didn't understand.
I didn't look at these last 2. Buffalo and the one after this, I didn't look at yet.
Because even 75th in returning production, I looked at the schedule. I've tried to understand why this team is 5.5.
Wait, I thought the offense was good. Why do I have this backwards for Buffalo? I thought the offense was good and the defense was bad.
They lost their best defensive player. That was a huge thing as well. This was a team that had a good defense, but they lost their best defensive player, Anderson. Yeah, I couldn't understand this number by this team. I would bet this if it wasn't minus 160 to get under 5.5, because I feel like that's one of the easier to this point that we've gone over. So
I don't understand how their defensive metrics look good here. Because I'm looking at their schedule for last year. I mean, they seem to have gotten lit up a lot. They do play a faster pace, so their scores would be higher. But
that's probably what it is.
I mean, they gave up 40 points to Fordham. What? 45 points to Louisiana, 55 to Liberty, 38 to Wisconsin. They shut down Akron and Central Michigan, but I don't see 31 to Toledo. They gave up 20 points to Ohio. It was like one of the worst offenses in the FBS last year.
Yeah, opponents ran the ball on them. Passed through the ball on them a ton. They couldn't. Teams didn't really run on them. They were throwing the ball all over them. So it was I don't know. This was a weird team last year, and everybody's saying they improved. I don't see it. Ogbonna, decent quarterback to have, but there's not enough here for me to even go close to the over.
We'll pull up the schedule. I have nothing to say about this team because I don't even
very
freaking. My thoughts on them from last year don't match the metrics. I thought they could score, and we're struggling to make stops. It almost looks like the opposite of that from when the numbers we just pulled up. So what do you got here? I have the schedule up.
Win right? Obviously against Lafayette. Then I have them losing every single game until
They
November.
lose home against UMass?
Yeah, UMass. I'm gonna sound stupid. I'm higher on UMass than anybody's ever been on UMass. All right, we're there. I think on Friday we're gonna talk about them. But yeah, I think they lose to UMass. I don't have them winning another game until at Eastern Michigan because I'm not very high on Eastern Michigan either. So I've got
home
them at
against
2-10.
Western Michigan's loss.
Western Michigan.
They're
going to
be favored in that game.
Yeah, that's their homecoming game as well. That's supposed to be an easy one for them, but I think
they could beat.
I'm so low on this team.
This is a win right here. Home Ball State. It's a win.
I don't know. I don't understand the point of like why people think this team's going to be better. Why every book has them at 5.5. Like I don't get it. I didn't see any improvement, and they weren't a particularly good. They went 3-9 last year. Lost everything. I don't know. I got them 2-10. This is a bad football team. Not worth it. A lot of people maybe the difference is I have them 2-10, and like you just said, Ball State's a game they could win. I am losing it. I'm higher on Western Michigan than most other people. Most other people won't. I am losing to UMass, so that's probably a game everybody's chalked up as a win already. So that might be the disconnect there. But I think.
All right, I put under up for you. I got to learn more about this team before I consider putting any money on them because what I expected those numbers to look like is not what they look like. All right, Miami of Ohio is last. You said that you're big on this team. One of the best defenses, certainly in the MAC, in the country last year. Their defense was amazing. The Red Hawks.
Coach has been there forever, so you don't have to worry about that. Nobody learning a new system. Kept their best linebacker of a defense that was really good. Their games are tough to watch because their pace is 132nd in the country. They only run the ball and they're very slow. But their defense is their typical MAC. Their defense is elite. Their defense could keep them in games early in the season that maybe they shouldn't be in. This team I'm very high on. They have the running backs, which is what they need to run their system. Chuck Martin loves to run it, like I said. Same coaches. There's really not much to dislike about this team. They should win this conference. They should win. The reason their number, and I know as a conference favorite,
production, man.
Yeah, as a conference favorite, you probably look at 8 wins and you're like, wow, that's a low number for a team that should win this conference and a team that won 11 games last year. Yeah, that's my point. Their schedule is brutal to begin the year. I think they can sneak the first one. I know that that's taking a shot, and I probably will take that shot week 1, but definitely one of those games, one of those teams that their schedule kind of hurts them a little bit. But
I'm bringing the schedule up now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They're not going to sneak on the road.
I think they could sneak that. That Northwestern team is nowhere near what they were last year.
If Emory Jones was still playing quarterback, I'd be down to take him in week 2.
That game also that game will also be played at a practice facility. That's where they're playing their home games. So Northwestern. So that's gonna be a quiet game. First game of the year. I would not be surprised if Miami wins, but I have it listed as a loss because I didn't want to get too crazy.
At Notre Dame loss. Home UMass.
And Notre Dame loss. Yeah, they're gonna beat UMass. UMass is good, but not that 2. Good. I'm winning every game.
Oh no, that might be that's most likely 1-3.
Yeah.
Then they lose to Toledo, right?
No, I haven't beaten Toledo. This is the best team in the conference. Toledo's probably the second best, but this is the best team in the conference.
On the road to Toledo, you can't chalk them as a win. If you want to say like toss.
No, you could say toss up. I have it listed as a win, but definitely
at Eastern Michigan win, home against Ohio win,
Central Michigan win, Ball State win,
home Kent State win. Wow, okay.
Northern Illinois win. I have them, and this is tough because look at the number. I have them 8-4, but I didn't include that I think they could beat Northwestern. So I know that that's taking a risk. But if you're going to get plus 100 to this team, if they lose that game, they're going to win 8 games, so it pushes. This is one I'd consider. Because I think when we do week 1, that line will probably be one that people look at and they're like, oh, I got to take Northwestern because it's going to be a lower line. I'm going to look at it and say, well, this team could definitely beat Northwestern's not going to be a particularly good team this year.
So. Did you look at Brett Gabbert's pressure to kept clean?
They got to protect.
Yeah, they got to protect this guy. One of the best quarterbacks in the country when given a clean pocket. When pressured, not so much. Actually, their pass blocking numbers look pretty good, though. 84th the pass blocking grade, 66th in sack rate, 60th the pressure rate allowed, 70. All right, so that's solid.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through. Like I said, I didn't look at the last one, Buffalo, or this one. So this is me like kind of looking at it at the first time.
They only play one team that they lost to last year. That was Toledo. Like we said, they do go on the road to Toledo. So that game probably will decide who wins the gets the MAC. Gets a spot in the MAC championship. That one or the Bowling Green one. But yeah, this is a team that I like them. They're preseason ranked number 1 for a reason. So.
All right. Well, that's 5 MAC teams down. We'll do 5 more tomorrow.
Yep.
Everyone have a good day. Mets are down 1-0 already.
I've heard.
Yeah. The Yankees up 4-0 on the Phillies. It's only the bottom of the second.
That's great for the Mets, though. I'm excited about that.
All right. You're coming over to
Yep.
AJ's on his way now, so I'll see
Yeah.
you later. Everyone have a good day.